hair doing?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
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 Oh, you're using the computer to block your face in case.
Yeah. Sure, that's all I'm doing and nothing else.
Have some Lucio O's.
I am what they call a genius.
You're about as much of a genius as I am as a professional programmer.
Oh, okay.
As in, you're on your way, but not quite.
I was about to say you must be the most professional programmers then, because I'm a fucking genius.
You're a fucking genius?
Yes.
You're in the room now.
Yeah, and I've proven to you that these two...
Are you not gonna lay on a sheet if you're just gonna use it like that? That's a blanket. My grandmother got you those nice and comfy sheets.
You saw like a glimpse of my hand as I did the fucking arm wave thing. I think your mic is in the way of the camera.
Just in the corner.
Wow, so professional.
What? You put it up there? Fine. There. Yeah, is that better?
No, I'm never happy.
Nobody can hear you.
Nip, 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 nip. Nip, 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 nip. Nip, nip, nip,
I
nip,
mean, I
nip,
could
nip,
always
nip,
just
nip.
talk like this
Nip,
and
nip, 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 nip,
fucking
nip, nip, nip.
unmute myself on Discord.
You could what? Well, then it would come through twice, remember?
If
That's
it
the
doesn't
issue
come
of...
through the first time,
Huh?
then it won't matter if it comes through this time.
Hey, speak words.
Speaking words.
Sorry. Hey, speak words in like 10 seconds. 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Fick, fick, fuckity, figgity, fuck, 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 penis, dick. Walnut balls. Fuck, fuck, penis, dick.
You just hear in the corner. You just hear in the distance that. Whatever.
Dick, vagina, penis.
You're so quiet. You're just talking quiet now
Yeah?
for some reason.
I unmuted myself on Discord so you could hear me.
I can't.
I'm deafen and mute to you, bitch.
What?
I ruined your life.
Huh?
Okay.
I'm going to have to ask you to actually do things correctly. It's
Is this
coming
what you
more
want, huh?
through my computer than your computer. That's baffling. You know?
Yeah, whatever. I don't care anymore.
What is this game called? Ultra Deluxe?
Stanley the Parable.
Ultra Deluxe.
Ultra these Lex.
Ultra D's nuts. Fat Jesus is sleeping on my floor.
I mean, I'm about there, yeah.
Confirm. Have I played the Stanley Parable before? I'll just say yes, because I've watched a lot of people play it.
That technically isn't playing it though.
Ten 42 43, and once it hits 10:43, I'm going to hit that confirm button immediately.
Oh, okay.
It's like when you like try to set the clock or your like time on your radio or something, or in your car, but it's like not on the exact minute. Huh?
I was actually thinking of Gen 2.
Come on, turn over to 10:43.
43. 43.
Right about there.
43.
Okay.
You did it.
Settings. Video. Let's apply that. By the way, shout out to it being in the corner as well. Turn that down a little bit. Is that actually at a different resolution?
I don't know.
VSync on. Mouse sensitivity up a little bit.
I need to get a new mouse.
Field of view, turn that up a little bit to like set 80. I don't know. Oh wait, I have to scroll. What is this crap? Languages. Subtle background opacity, subtitle background opacity. Anyway, let's begin the game.
I don't believe you.
The end is never. The end is never. The end is never the end. The end is loading.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Of Captain Jack Sparrow.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling
Interesting.
him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did.
How do you
every
count
day,
milliseconds?
every month of every year. And although
What?
others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in.
Sean said
Though he
carefully
had
and
been
quickly
made
for
exactly
everyone.
for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Are you okay over there, Sean?
And then one day, something very peculiar happened.
Yeah, I wonder why you're
Something that
tired.
would forever change Stanley. Something he
This
would
might be
never
a
quite
short
forget.
stream. Probably will
He
be
had
a
been
short
at his
stream.
desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him
That
instructions.
was definitely a different
call
computer
a
than
meeting,
what he
or
was
even
typing on
say
before, I think.
hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked,
I feel like Sean was
frozen
supposed to be
solid,
playing Mega Man
Stanley
X in the
found
corner.
himself unable to move for the longest time.
I was gonna.
But as he
say-
came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
PS4 controller?
Yeah, it's fine.
Fat Jesus played Mega Man X in the corner.
Oh shit.
Yo, he hates Mondays. By the way, Stanley is Slighty.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
What did it
mean?
mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a
What?
trace of his co-workers.
Probably.
Why does his desk just have a pencil sharpener?
Why not? Maybe that's his job. Ever thought of that, Hunter?
No, his job is pushing buttons.
No, that's Stanley's job.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Shut up. I am doing fun things.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door.
Am I doing the follow the ending or not follow the ending?
That's up to you, man.
I'm going to go not follow.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Chaos is my
Perhaps he
name.
wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I am chaos.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring.
Get your first
It had really been
achievement.
worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Yeah. It's nice.
It is.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope. I think I'm going to go this way.
To our room, my dude.
What?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Koto Aru.
Daga Kotowaru, my dude.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not
Yeah,
trying
this
to
is
be
like one of the
really
basic
unnormal.
endings I know.
I realize that investing your
the one
trust in
I'm
someone
actually
else can
doing.
be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want
Yes.
something bad to happen to you?
I know most of
Why,
the basic endings
I don't
of
know
this game.
how to convince you of this, but I really
this is
do
the Ultra
want to
Deluxe
help
version.
you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove
You know?
that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
I'm going to refuse every decision.
Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating
This way?
properly. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to
It's
find
nothing,
out what lies
'cause you
at the end
haven't
of this
rendered
road
the
you've
area. You
chosen?
haven't
Well,
built this
don't
area
let
yet.
me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted?
Yes.
Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out
Indeed.
specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to
baby
see? Vehicles?
slowly walking
Skill
towards
trees?
fire.
Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing
Yes,
so far.
that would have made the game
Tell you
better.
what, I'll take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell
No.
me about your
you.
experience with this new version.
Terrible.
Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you
Terrible.
more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking
Terrible.
for some
I
real
hated it.
critical feedback here.
You are a terrible game
one?
designer.
I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be
Oh, I just
improved
realized we're
to
in
more
that, like,
fully
open
express
world
itself
that room I
mechanically and
just came into.
artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge.
Would be equally as helpful.
Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Did you now?
Good old Neil. Hogarth CY2. You know, 21 more than 90. Hey, look, it's me. I'm last.
Sounds about right.
I've been playing for 7 hours and 37 minutes, apparently. Let's go through the correct door.
Now,
No, go
would
to
you
the
say
order.
that
Go to the
competitive
door.
leaderboard
The blue.
helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
A 2.
Hey,
Slightly
I nearly
better.
forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity
Is
to
it the
give it some
baby?
play testing.
Am I about
You
to
wouldn't
have
mind
to
taking
save
a
the
look at it,
baby
would you?
for 6 hours,
Perfect.
or
Let
for
me
so
prove
many
you
hours
that.
that somebody actually did and got an achievement for?
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move
By
him
the way,
back
shout
to
out to the
right,
narrator. I
and if he
love his
reaches
voice.
the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family
I'm behind a
life.
plant. I can't
think
move.
the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So
All right,
why
this
don't
is
you
the
give it
stream.
4 hours of
No, it's
play
not.
to make sure it's effective. Be sure to keep
I could make a
notes
stream
on
out
your
of this.
experience.
Probably, yeah.
You heartless bastard.
Ah,
Did
fuck
you
you.
do it because you hate babies or purely to spite
Mostly
me?
to spite you.
Because if it's the latter, well, I
Yes.
don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's
Are we
game?
gonna
Just
go
to
play
ease the
Minecraft?
pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
Let's go play Minecraft.
Yes, this seems
I
like
love
it'll work.
Minecraft.
Let's give it a shot.
Oh my god, what? Oh my god, we're playing Firewatch?
Fascinating. What
This
do you
isn't
think this game
Minecraft.
is about,
What?
Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
I was expecting
It's
Minecraft.
obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man, spying on innocent civilians below you from up high
I'm
in
not
your creep
that
tower.
creepy.
Perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I
Shout
love
out to
everything
Firewatch,
about this
pretty
game,
good game.
Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
That was the Minecraft door opening sound. I think I'm going to stay in here and explore. Flora of the Shoshone. Blue spruce, cottonwood, lodgepole pine, aspens, birch shrubs, alder shrubs, mock oranges, sagebrush, prairie fire, filary, golden aster, tail-cut blue pine. I like that tail-cut blue pine. Fucking Firewatch, man. Firewatch consistently feels like one of those games that's going to end up becoming a horror game.
Yeah.
You know, screw you. I'm
It
wandering
is.
directly
It's
into
an
the
open
or
world
into the
game.
woods.
Good God, quickly block it off.
Oh, wow,
Oh.
okay. He just
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call.
walled me in.
You really wandered off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right
I
or
like
wrong
open world games,
directions,
you son
no
of a bitch.
path to follow. You can just go in
Fuck.
any.
I wanted to go to Jonesy Lake.
Thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley.
Let me out!
I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Attack on Titan?
Still Attack on Titan.
Okay. I think this will be just the thing.
Oh, that's not good.
No, we're playing Rocket League.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big
Where is
box
my
for
car?
you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now,
Did they make this
is
version
game
just so they
design.
said,
Stanley,
or they
if
could
you
have the
manage to
rights
get
to
lost
use
in
these
this game,
assets?
I will be phenomenally
Probably.
impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we
Is there
do
a
here?
ball? Can I
Let's
like
see.
knock a ball into a
There are
goal?
lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball?
Is this game
Stanley,
sports ball?
I think it's sports ball.
I think it's
Oh, what
sports
fun.
ball.
We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together.
Shall run the bases
Yes,
and do
I
a
think surely we
touchdown
must.
together.
Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
All right, I'm going to score for the blue team.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm going so fast.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I...
Oh.
Hold on. What are you doing?
I fell in a hole. Oh my God. Oh, what? What is happening?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you.
Stanley, don't do that. I
How will
can't
you
follow
write a
you
story
there.
without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come.
Where did I fall? Where am I? I'm in the beta.
You're a beta.
No, I am what many would call an Sigma. Thank you. No, I'm kidding.
No. Also, Sigma's a dick.
Where do I go?
That way.
Oh shit, I fell. Hello? Oh.
Hello?
No, I'm in the Half-Life, or I'm in the Half-Life 2 or Half-Life 1 version of the Half-Life 2 mod for Stanley Parable. Did you know Stanley Parable was originally a Half-Life 2 mod?
Makes sense.
Then before it became its own game?
So what is it, like a horror game?
No, it was literally just the Stanley Parable, but made in Half-Life 2. Didn't have the same narrator, I don't think. Different endings, obviously.
It feels like a horror game.
It did have the ending of you get to play another game, but you ended up playing the Half-Life. I think you ended up playing Half-Life 2. Well, it's more of that the game. It's just an incomplete. Oh, I'm going back. I'm going back to 417.
Makes sense.
Employee number 4.
Yeah, this feels like the Backrooms kind of deal.
427. I mean. Why do I have like no? Okay, the game is now paused. What do I do? Come on, I wanna... What do I do? Oh,
Do the red tool.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now.
Half-Life 2?
I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back.
Cover your stomach.
The end will be here
What?
soon.
Cover your
Very
stomach.
soon.
No.
I can wait.
Sean's fat. He's fat Jesus.
Oh, cover your stomach.
What did you think I said?
I thought you were asking if that noise was my stomach.
Alright.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Maybe I have. Maybe I have.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
It says input received. Employee number 4.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on
Fine,
his
I'll
left.
go to the one on the left. Like a good little employee.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Talk
Feeling
less,
waved
do unbelievably
desperately,
amazing work all the
Stanley
time, every day,
decided
with no
to go
exception
up to his
or
boss's
expectation of
office,
promotion.
hoping he might find an answer
That
there.
sounds about every job I've ever had. Not that.
Sounds like fun.
Oh my god, the broom closet ending.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on
I want the
track.
broom closet ending.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Indeed.
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Yes.
Standing around doing nothing? Why?
Because
Please
I
offer me
want
some
to.
explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
I want the broom closet ending. It's one of my favorite endings from the base game.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow
It
its
is.
own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending?
Did you get the broom closet ending?
ending was mine.
The broom closet ending is my
I
favorite.
hope your friends find this concerning.
I'm your friend.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid.
Wow.
He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
He's just being rude now.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system.
Yes.
And you collapsed on the keyboard.
Indeed.
Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it
Joke's on
begins
you,
to
I'm wearing
decompose.
headphones. Nobody will be able to hear it anyway.
Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your
wonder if
countless
that's
human
actually happened to
physiological
somebody playing this game.
vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is
It's
not
such a
lost on them. All right.
good game.
When you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Alright.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before
Can't
you.
do any worse. Ooh, is that a broom closet? I can go in there.
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish?
Just watch Speed
fungus?
Racer.
Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
If we're going a third time. No, nothing.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Why is it so red down here? Fine, I did the complete opposite ending, and now I'm gonna do the actual ending. What? That was never able to be opened before. I'm in the executive bathroom. I've got the feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course, so it's a so say that's a lovely purse. Extreme Bathrooms, Time Magazine.
Oh boy.
Is it... They just added an executive bathroom because people kept saying they wanted to go into the executive bathroom. The beige pages. What? Yo, this room's open now. What is this? Also, what are you doing to that panda? Business strategy? Up? This is new. Sweet elevator music. Sounds like Kevin McLeod. Is that him? Is that the narrator? It's like the narrator's doing like 1, 2, 3. Oh. I'm going back in. I wonder if I have to like let this sit for a while. If I hit down there. No, if I go down. These papers are like neon. Do you want me to stop?
I'm sorry. Keep going. I'm just.
I don't want to keep you up is the thing. What?
I've slept with Matthew who has this nasty habit of just randomly laughing as loud as he can every chance he gets. See, you do whatever. I'll be fine.
Damn it, I can't leave. Well, that... Huh. I expected this to be like a new ending or something. I'll actually do it.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
If I leave, I can't leave. Huh, okay. Guess I'm heading to the machine then? This feels like slightly different than before. It might be, I don't know. Night Shark 115.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Whoops, nope, never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me.
Huh?
Why did Stanley do that?
So,
when he knew
when
that
you
it
go
would just
through
lead
the
back to his
boss's office and
well,
go
that's
down
a
the
great
elevator,
question.
you
I
can
just can't
go
wait
back
to
up.
find out.
And I don't know if this is new or what.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry. Of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Eight. Wait, what? Something said 8. Just gonna keep pressing 8. Come on. 8. That's an achievement. Yeah, there's 8. Fine.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again.
Yeah, I'm going to go
Ladies
back up.
and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Fuck you, I'm going back up.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
I'm gonna keep annoying the narrator. I wonder what's up here. Ooh, what's this?
Oh my god. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a timeout here for a minute while I process this.
Huh?
Yep.
If you keep going back up and down the elevator, it just annoys the narrator to the point where he puts a please hold sign up on the up on the screen.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
Oh my god, it's back. Please hold.
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality.
I'm on the back of a couch.
As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Thank you. Big office. It's supposed to be like a pain to heat.
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it?
I don't
mean,
know.
Sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling
I am
that has grown stale
a
and repetitive.
narrative genius, of course. He's not even saying anything this time.
Oh, you know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
Oh no.
There we go. Isn't this so much
No.
more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big,
No, you
explosive
can't do
moments
this to me.
flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years.
Yeah.
And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and
shut
over.
your face. I didn't do
Truly,
anything.
I mean it. This is unique and different. It's
What?
not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories
made the
that
elevator go as
surprise me,
slow as
Stanley.
possible now.
I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all
Let me
know
go
it,
over there,
which
let me
is
go over
why
there.
we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why,
Terrifying.
though I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you.
really?
So that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes,
Thank
I know
you.
you're not much for the public eye, but I thought
Finally,
it would especially mean a
someone
lot to the people who have been
recognizes
following
my
you from the beginning. They really
amazingness.
look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here.
Well, this is
Okay,
a wonderful
the room where we're
surprise.
holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
All eyes on Stanley, live on stage. World's healthiest human being, all tricks revealed. How we did it, the pyramids. Live, the guy who went to Mars. World peace, baby.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door.
Oh, I want to go this way. Stanley Parable, Stanley, tonight live on stage. Fucking Christ. World's first sentient machine. Doing great conversation with Alexander
All
the
right,
Great.
are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley.
Thank you.
Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
I need to put my makeup on first. I'm not ready. Is that golf? Is that mini golf? Stanley, me, Dad, age 6. Or David, age 6. Pick in the parking lot. You are too cool. Good luck on stage. Rock on. Break a leg. Camp. Your boss. Oh, I got 2 break a leg champs from my boss. Love you, or I love the way you ride elevators. Oh, thank you. No one tells stories the way you do. Go get him, Tiger. Your wife. From the apartment ending. Your wife from the apartment ending. The dude who came up with pizza. Shit, I want to meet him. I wanted to speak. Hello?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times.
Yes.
Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Gotta click on this door. I need to get back to my press conference. That I think I dreamed up.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley.
All right.
I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost.
I got you.
Why don't you go put 20 clicks into
417?
door number 417?
Door 417. It's 417. Where is door 417? 417.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
437. Back this way. No, it's not back this way. Oh, there it is.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere.
Yes.
Now, door 415. Let's
415.
give it 10 clicks or so.
415. Where's 415? 415. 415.
Now, back to door number 437.
437. That's new. It's new content. 437. There it goes.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know.
Copy machine?
The copy machine. All right, back to room 417. I'm
417?
really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
All right. Back to 417. Put received. I gotta do that every time. I think there's something with that.
Okay, now go climb on employee
419,
419's desk.
419. Oh, come on. Let me up on there. There we
Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I
Yes.
like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
go. 416. Where are you? 416. Where's 416? Where's 416? It's 417. It's 415. Is this 416? It's 416. Or 56. Four two seven, 429, 437. Where's room 416? Where the fuck's for 416? Oh, okay. Apparently, it's back here. 416.
We've almost got
Yes.
it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Okay. Copy machine. Where is it? It was way back here. I'm gonna get this achievement.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks
Yes.
on door 430!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm
Thank you.
very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a
Thank
few
you.
minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks.
Sorry, I just wanted to-
Really now? What were you thinking? At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard
remember this one
narration
existed.
and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like, right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
I got plenty of time, Mr. Narrator. Let's see what we've got here. Oh. Sorry, what the fuck is this? Well then, I guess I have to begin the game again. I hope that new content door
All
is
of
still
his
there.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah, okay, good.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Hello.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
You're welcome.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home
A decade ago,
computers.
almost.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Take me back.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Is it an elevator?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Turn up.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Yes.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
And obviously I'm going to, like, use all my jumps.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Wow. I jumped a lot. Thank you. I enjoyed that jump circle. Thank you. Alright. I guess I'm going down the other, or up the other elevator. Let me jump again. I haven't had enough jumping.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
I mean, usually you
If
have
this
to
is
pay
new
extra for
content,
those things.
Then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell,
been a
I
while
could count
since
to
you've,
30
been-
trillion. You could put that on the
since the
box.
Stanley Parable
The
released, Mr.
Stanley
Narrator,
Parable
things have changed
Ultra
in
Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes.
More
I
jumping.
knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please
does. I
ignore."
saw that one.
What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, Why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about? No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always.
I have done nothing
What do
but
you
cause
say,
you trouble
friend?
at this point. What? Mr. Narrator? Yep, that's what the hallway's supposed to look like.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
In a second.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. Oh, never mind. You're not a dork.
Don't call me a dork. Coffee nut. So much new stuff is going on. You don't want to see the new stuff? I guess you're a dork. Oh, never mind, you're not a dork.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content
Yes.
turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Whoa. Is this
I call
Valhalla?
it the Memory Zone.
Or
It's where
Valhalla?
I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Yeah? Which one? The original Half-Life one or this one?
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the
Yeah, that
waste.
was the first ending, wasn't it? Or like the escape ending. Stanley Parable Collector's Edition. 2014 Independent Games Festival Audience Award, Stanley Parable. British Academy of Film and Television Arts, Stanley Parable. Postcards from 2013. 2013. My first kiss, my first car, the Reese of the Stanley Parable in 2013. Wow. The original remake. 1951. I remember that was like the code or something for the original original Stanley Parable, I think. Or something. It was me first dollar. Oh yeah, the demo. I played the demo long ago. God's side, don't play for 5 years. It is impossible to get this achievement. Debut game, game innovation. Creators surprisingly down to earth. Is this an actual post thing? Did they just not have anything posting that day in the Los Angeles Times? Oh hey look, it's the Stanley Goes Crazy ending. In loving memory of little Stanley. What?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was
Straight
all
up
of
just
them.
mentions
And now
Persona 3. Okay.
it's nothing. It's no
I
games
didn't
at
expect
all.
this. I
It
expected
isn't
Skyrim
even
or
a Stanley
something similar,
Parable
but not
anymore.
Persona 3.
It's just a husk now.
Out of all the
A
Personas, why
lifeless
Persona 3,
husk
not Persona
with
5,
an
Persona
hour
4?
of new elevator
I feel like
content.
Persona 3 is like the short end of those two, or those three. Like, not that it's a bad game. It's just oh look, it's the friendly art trail or whatever. Friendly. Oh yeah, that was what the when you jump off there and he makes you play another game. You played Minecraft. The monitor ending. Oh, yeah, that was part of that one as well. You would stop playing Minecraft, you play that. Memory zone maintenance. Oh wow. Original. Well, this is nice.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved
Is this like
video
a
game
commentary
memories.
on the fact that people continuously asked for more Stanley Parable content, and so, like, this is just a way of, like, oh, the serious room? Can I get in the serious room? Because that's the serious table. That's what happens when you, activate cheats. What am I supposed to do? I guess I'm supposed to go backwards?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Cold drinks, apparently.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
That's so good.
Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
I mean, I saw a lot of good ones. So many people enjoyed this game when it came out.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art.
That was
I suppose I could
recommended.
write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound
I like the
philosophical
narrator. I
insights
think he
that I can't
provides
even
a
imagine
lot.
where I'd have the room to stick
Like, the
them.
game, half the game is the narrator and interacting with him. Huh. Bad review, bad review. I mean, for every like bad review, there's like got to be like 20 good ones, right? You only really notice the bad ones because they're the ones that stand out and get emotions running a lot of the time. So you like a good one.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't.
Is this the developers like venting?
What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening.
There's literally a part where you can just run through and the narrator will get mad at you.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley.
No.
Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Don't go selling out and like trying to.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction...
Damn it, I have to push the button. I didn't want to push the
Therefore
button.
becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had... Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this,
Oh, the
and whether
reviewer.
they'll edit the rating of their Steam review,
that an
or
actual
at least
Steam
change
review?
some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45
the
minutes.
exit's gone.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we
Okay.
can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Wasn't
That's
there a
kind of what I
door
was
that led
wondering.
into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window, or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall?
There's
I'll
that
take any
thing.
of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did... Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button
12
again. It's been
hours?
12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been
Plans
sitting
dead.
here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same?
I don't like
always?
this ending.
Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore.
I don't
I'll
wanna-
give it all
it's
up.
been like
I'll
2
give up
weeks.
every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These
if I push
words
it
that
again?
I'm
How long
saying,
is it
I
gonna
need to
be
know you
next?
can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps. Yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness.
Why is it so
I
bright
can
back
feel
here?
the
Why does this
edges
give
of
off
my
light?
reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again, and I have cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying,
Not much of
don't
a
you?
light to cast shadow
You can
with.
see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it. To think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
I'm having an existential crisis right now, whoa. I'm playing the Stanley Parable. This is a new ending. He was going through memory lane and looking at reviews for the original Stanley Parable. One person asked for a skip button, so he made a skip button. When the skip button happens, it just freezes me in place and it goes black and wakes back up like a certain amount of time later. The first time it was for like 5 minutes, then 30 minutes, then a couple hours, then 12 hours. The last time I pressed it, it was 2 weeks, and the narrator is going crazy because when I press the button, I just stand still and he's left there for 12 hours, or for however long, and I'm afraid of what will happen when I press this button again. Hello?
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome.
Hello.
I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed
I think he's going
opportunities.
insane.
I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything
If I skip
I had
while he's
ever
talking,
known.
it just skips,
It was a
but I
space
kinda
without
wanna hear what he says.
consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible. The spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience. And then, this moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing
So it's been
now
at least a
for
year,
longer than
apparently.
I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you. Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid, as I do,
Oh, God.
that perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well. Perhaps
See,
you will
there used to be a
somehow,
door
in
there, but
some
after,
way,
like, the
have to
third
live as I
skip,
do
it
now,
disappeared, and I
wish
can't
for you
leave
to
now.
know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
Hello? Narrator? Narrator? That's barely working anymore. Okay. Wait, just so I know, this is the 7th skip. I need to get to, oh my god, 18. Clock has fallen. That stopped working. Oh my god, what is happening? That's skip number 8.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant
Oh,
to be
he's back.
funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes?
I think that was
Where are
just
the
a
jokes?
I don't
They
know
didn't
what
only
that. I
scream.
think that was
They
just a
gnashed
smoke
their
detector
teeth
or
and said,
something.
entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people
don't know
living
how
in
long
such
it's been.
bleakness and discomfort with
It had
ourselves
been a
that
year
our
when he started
entertainment
going
is now our
insane, and then he
lives.
didn't say anything.
It has come to represent
So
us.
maybe like
It
10 years or
absolutely
so, and
must
now
speak to who we are as
100
people.
years, I don't
Because
know.
otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face
He's not here anymore. Has anything changed? Oh. Well, water's dripping now. Okay. Okay, I guess I'll just skip again.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end,
Just
is
so
never
I
the
know
end,
what
is
we're
never the
on.
end, is never the end, is never the end.
11th out of 18?
The end is never the end, 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 is
I don't like this. How's that water doing?
Is never the end, is never the
Oh,
end,
it's,
is never the end, is
it's
never
getting
the
worse.
end, is never the 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 end, is never the
Don't know. Narrator? You alright? That water is, oh boy, it's getting worse. Oh. 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 It's a way out. Maybe? Stanley, you can climb out there, right? Come on. Get out. Oh, okay. Oh. Oh. The ground was spawning in. Okay. Oh. What happened? Did it cave in? Yeah, that's what I was getting there as well. I'm no longer getting Portal 2 intro vibes. What is that sound? I'm safe when I'm like, when I push this, right? What is that noise? I don't like this. Narrator? Oh, what? Wait, what? Oh. No, I'm looking over at the, because I have the, I have my Streamlabs on, like, I have my stream up, and so I'm looking at my stream, and I also have my Streamlabs on, like, performance mode, and so my screen isn't, my video isn't actually showing, and I want to make sure, like, it's not, doing any of the stuttering shit that it's usually doing. Especially for some reason the Stanley Parable does this. Or at least when I like tried to play it, the original Stanley Parable before. My game could not run it for some reason. And we're back, okay. By the way, is the audio alright? Because I can't see the mixer. Okay. I might be able to turn it off of performance mode. And actually be able to see my thing. Okay. I've turned it off performance mode. Tell me if any stuttering happens. So
All of
that
his co-workers were
was
gone.
an ending.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
That
Perhaps he
ending
had simply
actually
missed
gave
a
me some
memo.
form of existential dread. So not going... I have to go back through there, don't I? That was the way to get to the new... to that thing. But that sign was not there.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Okay. Back through again, I guess. I swear to God, if I have to go through existential dread again. Oh, we just skipped all that, okay.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it
Yeah,
should live up to
I
that
guess.
legacy. So forget
As long as you
this
don't have a
ultra
skip
deluxe
button that
nonsense.
time travels
I
me
say
into the
we
future
take it
to
one
Doom.
step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience.
I can't
built
tell
from
if
the
they're
ground
actually
up.
announcing a
Why there are so
sequel,
many
because I highly
possibilities.
doubt
They
Stanley
could go
Parable
in
doesn't
so
really need a
many
sequel.
different directions. This
I
is
like- I
what
always love new
fans have
content.
truly been asking for.
I always love new content for the Stanley. I love the Stanley Parable. I love the original, and I love this one so far. But I don't know if they could do a sequel while
Calling it the
holding
Stanley
it to
Parable
the
2
same
is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra
the
Deluxe.
same
What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now
staple,
that's
or
an
not
artistic
staple,
statement
standard as the original.
right there.
I don't know.
It's future-oriented. It
the
screams
original one is
progress
such-
and
just
innovation
such
and
an
long-term
experience.
franchising potential.
Sean's on my floor over there asleep. Year 2 is crooked. New content is out. New content part 2 is in. New hotness. Boring sections of the chart. Cool red section of the chart. More TSP, better TSP. The Stanley Parable. Paradigm shift, synergy. Brick and mortar approach. Oh, I guess
Now, to
we
be
found it.
clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring
Just
up
got a
around
message
them.
on Twitch, get
It'll all
blocked
work
here.
itself out. Game development is much more
What do
of
you
a
mean?
fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Sorry. Any incorrect spelling of Sean is blocked. You see, that guy on the floor over there, he made a rule that incorrect spellings of his name are blocked from being spoken on Twitch. And that's the first time it's ever actually happened. And that's amazing. Today was a day of his name is spelled S-H-A-W-N. It's not. It's actually that. Sean is also I can say it. I'm pretty sure I can say it because I'm the owner of the channel, but it's S-E-A-N. Don't tell him I said it's S-H-A-W and he will stab me. It's the first way, S-E-A-N. What the fuck?
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. Hear your name in the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button,
Sean.
which speaks the name of the person playing the game.
For the
Isn't
first
that
time ever,
wonderful?
your banning of the incorrect spellings of your name came in.
Oh, I heard.
Oh, I didn't know you were. Have you fallen asleep at all?
Oh no, I've been asleep. I just kind of.
Yeah, he said S-H-A-U-N or whatever, a cat. S-H-O-N. Hey, that's not blocked either. You have another one to block, Sean. At some point.
So much time.
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is.
He's
Here, let's
kind
have
of
a
a
role
cat.
play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
I am Jim.
Jim. Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Why is Shawnee optical in my room in my room anyways? I guess his face is blocked over there.
By intelligent design.
By intelligent design. He's on the floor.
Jim. It hits even harder the second time. If this were the
'cause we're
only
going
new
to-
feature
we're
in the
going
Stanley
out of town
Parable
tomorrow,
2,
and
it would still be
I
worth
thought
the
it'd
money.
be a good idea for him to stay
Let's
here.
take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Okay, I'll go along with him simply because I sort of gave the narrator a bit of emotional distress last time. I think I'll go a little bit easier on him.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this
Is that
feature.
clip art? What? A ray traced more of the same, but in a good way, sequel to the. The reassurance. What is the reassurance bucket? Merch. Give me some merch. Oh, that's the reassurance bucket.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Oh.
You know,
Happy 12th birthday,
sometimes when
Stanley.
you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get well someday it is.
I want on a balloon? Fine.
Or actually,
Oh.
maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Wait a second, what? It's the one you wanted, but you just didn't know it yet? True. The jump circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle
I don't
back
have
for
any
Stanley Parable
jumps
2 as
remaining
well.
because of the
It's-
last time I
Oh,
did
wait.
it. I was in the jump
You
circle.
already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Bitch. Won't even let me. Free, new, and easy achievement. Get it here. By the way, I probably should go see what that bucket. Oh, that's the exit over there. Okay. Should probably go get that reassurance bucket, right? Free settings, world champion, infinite hole. How do I get the bucket? I want to go down to the bucket. Fine, I won't go to the settings, world champion. Can I please find... Is this a... Okay, this is a tunnel back to the beginning, okay. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Thank you. It's a bucket, dear God, but wait, there's more.
This is a bucket.
Dear God.
There's more.
No.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it.
There's no bucket in there.
I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket.
Oh, here
You
it
see,
comes.
Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal
I want it.
and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma?
By the way,
as well.
shout out, I figured out
I
if
think
you
that just
hold left and
holding
right
it
button,
has made you the
it just makes you move
slightest bit
forward
more
for some reason.
attractive as a person.
The left
The
and
benefits of the
right
bucket
click.
seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
I guess I have this bucket now.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already. Come now, you've already
Damn
made
it.
your choice. It's true that you chose badly, but we all have to move on from our
Oh,
mistakes.
fuck you, bitch. Okay, so the TF2 bucket is better? Maybe. I don't know what this bucket does yet. I seem to still be carrying it.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
You mean at the end of the game, probably? Oh, that's new. Where's this infinite hole? I want to go to this infinite hole. First of all, free easy achievement.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well,
Yeah.
I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Give me the achievement. Fuck you. Will you give me the achievement? I still have this bucket. It just makes noise every time I take a step now.
What else? What other exhibits haven't
Well,
we
there's an
seen
infinite
yet?
hole over here. Apparently. Oh, space like infinity. Distant past, distant space-time. The whole like infinity. Oh.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before.
Is
in
there a way to
video
kill
game.
myself?
This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Should I? There's other things to see. Going after. Oh shit. Okay, Stanley is slidey.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I've prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley.
Apparently that.
I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know. I told you the hole was infinite, but come on.
How did that
Who
market
actually
that
wants to
mug?
fall
It
forever?
fell
The hole was plenty
so
deep. It
far
was more
and
than
is
deep
intact.
enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't
plastic
we
cup.
just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite?
Meeting at
If
2
that works
p.m.
for you, then go ahead and press
This is
the
where people throw
teleport
their
button
trash.
to
Yeah, there are
walk
a
up
lot
to
of
the top
cigarette
of the
butts down
hole and
here.
we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. If I wait here long enough, will you start saying stuff again? Is this like the broom closet? Oh, I get it. 2 p.m. I can't jump. Fine, whatever. Anyway, go again.
Oh, for heaven. You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even
Actually,
shorter
yeah, the
to
hole,
you this
the thing's
time?
bigger now.
I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled.
Yeah, of course.
I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime.
Yeah, we've had enough of the hole. See, like, I'm walking right past. Oh no, I slipped.
Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive divot. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
I can't.
Is the, teleport button not
It's
working?
not working.
You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
You son of a bitch, you get back here. Get back here and let me out of this hole. What's happening? I went out of the hole. Oh! Oh no, it's getting deeper. What the fuck is happening? What the fuck? I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen Stanley's actual face before. Before the Ultra Deluxe.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up the space of mine. My head's stronger.
I don't like this one.
You're no longer
That's alright.
using up the space of mine. My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up the space of mine.
Puppies. Keeping it on that one. What the fuck? Oh no, I clicked the wrong one. Get back the puppies. I want back the puppies.
You're no longer using up the space of mine. My head's stronger.
Take me back.
No longer using up the space of mine. My head's stronger.
Stanley?
You're no
Stanley?
longer.
Stanley!
Oh?
Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland.
What the fuck
We
happened?
can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
No. Are we going back down? Oh. Oh, thank God we're still here.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
That was amazing. There was something in the doorway that just disappeared. What do you mean? Wait, what? What doorway? Zero 0344. Should I go back to the infinite hole? Oh. It won't let me in. Son of a bitch. Doesn't want me to have my fun in the hole anymore. Let me look at the VOD real quick. See what I can see. What you see if I can see what you saw. Yeah, I didn't see it. I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't see anything there. It was just a sign, and the angle change made it look like it disappeared. Oh, okay. Free achievement. Couldn't get that yet. That's the exit. Collectibles. Collect them all.
Ah, collectibles.
It's like a
Now
Japanese
it's a
bridge.
real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a
Oh,
number
that's
go up.
terrifying.
You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Oh, that's that's not fun. Thank you. Oh, I can't go back, okay.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
I think there are actually 6 mini Stanleys here. Yes, there are. I'm not going to look where they are. I just wanted to confirm that there actually were. So apparently I had to come here to unlock it first, and now they'll suddenly appear everywhere. If I looked at everything, for achievement, button says the name of the person, merch, setting world champion, can't even go in there. Off situations, collectibles, yep, infinite hole, yep. Yep. Alright, it's time for the exit.
All right. Have you seen everything you
I went
wanted
back
to?
in there. There was nothing
Ready to
in there.
move on now?
Well, I mean, I can go back and check real quick. I don't think I can get another bucket. If I can get double buckets, that would be great. Okay, it doesn't look like it's reset in here, so I highly doubt. Wait a second. Stanley Parable 2 website. I'm like 90% sure this is just a joke. But still.
Say there, Timmy. What's that you're enjoying? Why, it's breakfast, of course. Everyone loves breakfast. But did you know that breakfast is getting a sequel? That's right. It's called Lunch. And critics are raving that lunch will be everything breakfast was and more. With a little luck, we may even get a trilogy series out of it. Say, you know what a sequel is, don't you, Timmy? Why?
That's a video I'm going to watch later. This fucking game, man. This fucking game. You haven't even seen some of the best endings in the Stanley Parable. This is like the redone version of the game. Some of the best endings there were some amazing endings in the original. Oh god, the face. Actually startled me. You're gonna keep making me go back, aren't you, Whoa? Midnight Monopoly is now playing Human Fall Flat. No. Yes, mostly not intentionally. I don't think that's collectible. Infinite hole. Infinite breadsticks. The breadsticks are infinite. All right. New mug.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Is there an infinite hole?
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement.
Put me in there.
Okay, yes. Yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Oh, twice the amount of holes.
Who am I kidding, Stanley?
Twice the
This
achievement
isn't a
machine.
coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they
Collectibles.
don't add up to anything.
It's even better.
I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the
I'm still
first
under the
game.
impression that this
I
is
wanted
like
fans to love it.
the
No matter
ravings
how
of the
good these
developer.
gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity
So,
of the original
Stanley
game.
Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect.
Please tell me
Go
it
ahead.
just says this is the old
Take
Stanley
a
Parable 2. Why are we in a horror game now? Also, why does this look like a Minecraft, like, drug thing? Quit to desktop? It did it. It quit the desktop. Yeah. I'm gonna register that this is a game. Sure. Thank you for setting the clock both times you set. Actually, setting the clock both times you booted up the game. Aw. I appreciate that. So I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative. Next time you boot up the game and see this screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whatever time you want, even if it's not the correct time, you've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. It went back to that.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was
balloons.
employee number 427.
You put the balloons in.
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
Stanley Parable 2.
Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong.
And what's
shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Welcome back. Quit the game and then start it again. I got an achievement. Balloons. There really are just balloons
All of his
everywhere now.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Bucket.
This is a bucket.
Dear God.
There's more.
No.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Is all of the narration changed because I have the fucking bucket now?
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no.
We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has
How
sunk
dare you
that it
call
has to
my
resort to
broom
this
or my
stream of
bucket
petty
names?
insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I'd never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Sorry.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets.
Broom closet, I will not invite you
to
to my birthday party.
Alright, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
Shout out to, like, getting the sticker perfectly in the grooves.
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment.
Wow.
And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on
Honestly,
display.
the silent treatment
You can
is
stay here all you like, but
essentially
I've had
an
it with this
admission of guilt.
impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Fuck you. There's an engineer's wrench on the bottom shelf. Yeah. That right there is called a wrench.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Not many of them look like the engineer's wrench. I mean, the engineer from TF2? Oh, I can't actually go in there this time. That's odd. Go in there last time.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
The bucket is guiding me.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Sounds like a fruit. I guess I shouldn't ride the elevator back up in town this time.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together.
Did they rewrite all of the dialogue in this? The sequel is now paused. All of the dialogue in this for me holding the bucket.
If not for the bucket, soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
The bucket said nothing. Oh yeah, no, the narrator is insanely good. I love him.
Said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator. Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly. No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see.
I've done this before, going up and down, up and down.
He smiled at the bucket.
It is entirely new dialogue. Last time the narrator just kept getting more and more sarcastic about, maybe there's something new in the office.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all. Only silence.
I thought we were friends.
Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Fine. I'll return to the elevator.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be? Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart.
Oh, yep, we're in this
He
section.
decided right then and there that he wanted
the press conference,
where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the
at least it's
eyes
going
of
faster
others.
this time. Last
It
time
would
the
get to
narrator
see
got
the
so
world react to this
sarcastic about me
discovery
going
of
back up and
Stanley's.
down and passive aggressive
And
about me
it
going
would
back
be
up
through
and
the
down.
public
He made
eye
the
that
elevator
the bucket would
super
finally
fucking slow.
understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day
Where's
arrived,
3?
Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
You need 3? What's that over there? I want that. We go over there. There's a thing over there. There's your 3s. You need 3 a bit more. That's good. 3.
This was it.
3.
One last chance to win the bucket over. One
Congratulations,
opportunity
Stanley.
to share a
Remember where
true
you came from.
connection with a loved one.
Why are these? Why does it look like their eyes staring at me? 3 again. 3 again. Oh. Three. Yo, shout out to the dude who came up with pizza. Sorry, gotta get my tie situated. Bucket. Alright, let's just get the the makeup on the bucket. It's a little bit smudged. I get you. Alright, let's get ready for our press conference. Deep breaths. Alright, let's do this.
There was no one here.
What?
Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding.
No.
The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant.
No.
They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends.
3.
And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Ah, good.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Stanley lifted the,
The bucket
into
is
his
still
arms,
property of Stanley.
and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
I need to do that every single time. I keep forgetting.
Stanley clutched
All right,
the
whoa.
bucket tightly to his chest.
You are doing
and
this now.
entered the door on his left.
You decide the door. It is in the power of your hands. No. I'm going right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Yeah, the bucket's right. I think the employee lounge is important.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was.
how insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Buck was right. I really like this meeting room. This, not this meeting room, but this employee lounge. Not enough seating as far as I'm concerned. Like, I feel like there should be a table
was
here.
A grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together.
Like a couple
First,
bookshelves.
Walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
You said bucket to the meeting? What?
Perhaps this was where the bucket felt most truly at home. Here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
The little clang of the bucket every time or whenever I walk.
Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the bucket and the employee lounge shared a special connection.
Fuck it, bucket. Oh, I just said. Oh. I get it. Alright.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
Alright.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh, wait, this is new. Sorry. I'm off on an adventure now. I've never... This wasn't possible before.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Fiddlers. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
This is new. You just die. I'm pretty sure, like, there's I'm pretty sure that's in the basic one. Narrator dialogue, narrator dialogue. Is this where the narrator is? Am I about to meet the narrator?
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes.
I don't even know what the real ending to this is because the bucket is with me.
Euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
The fuck you want to run that by me again?
All of his co-workers were
I'm
gone.
going to go
What
the
could it
same
mean?
way, but I'm going
Stanley
to
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I want to see what the ending is without the
When
bucket.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee
Don't
lounge
wow me, I'll
first,
get the bucket
just
when I
to
go
admire
back through
it.
there.
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Wow.
Stanley was so bad at
Calling me a
following
loser.
directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Oh, okay. So the bucket added a lot to that one.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had... The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
No, I need the one with the input received. No. Dang it. That's lame. Not all of them can be winners. I want to see... Sorry, just give me 1 second. I want to see what this ending is like once I do.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self. The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger. of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps.
I can't believe
The
this
bucket
entire game
wondered to
was
itself,
re-narrated
perhaps
with
if
the
it had
bucket
seen its
in
own
mind.
darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not
Gambhorata,
conceive the
that
ramifications
thing.
of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley.
What?
You did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been
Is Stanley
overwhelmed
at
by
the
the
end of a
bucket's power.
JRPG?
I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
Bucket, please speak to me.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Actually, I think I might end it here, solely because it's 1:30. I need to get to sleep because we're going to be leaving in the morning to go go out of town for a couple days. But yeah, I will be back with this because there's apparently so much more stuff to do with it. This sequel is amazing. None of this was in the original, by the way. The original that came out in 2013. All of this is new to me. And I'm so excited to see what more of the bucket has for me. But yeah, I will thank you for stopping by, Woe. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Thank you. I'll try. It'll be kind of stressful, but hopefully it'll be enlightening in a way. We're apartment hunting. Yeah. See you next time, Woe.